The brain functioning is projected onto the ear, and that's the same with any microsystem. You know, reflexology of the hands, the feet, iridology of the eye, scalp, the list goes on. Sometimes when you treat the elbow point, if there was an emotional trauma related to the elbow, the person starts crying, right? So obviously, in that shows you that actually you're treating the brain's idea of the elbow, not the physical elbow. So what makes auricular medicine really work is that it's only a pathology that's going to show up. So I have an elbow, and that's not enough for me to have an active elbow point on my ear. Okay, the fact that my elbow exists does not mean I'm going to have an active point on my ear. Only when there's a pathology. So, but then you might say, well, if I have an old injury that's healed up and I don't have any pain in my elbow, why would I have an active elbow point on my ear? And the only reason for that is if that part of my brain still thinks it's a problem. Okay? So physically, sure, it's healed. But my brain still thinks that something is wrong there because it's been stuck in this loop pattern, or there's an emotional piece tied up in that has not been released, that needs to be released, related to the elbow. Only when there is a disturbance or a problem or a pathology is when you'll have an active point. Of course, that active point then is linked to the disorder. So you treat that elbow point, and now what you're doing is you're sending a message to the brain to clear that old message. Or if it's currently inflamed, you're sending a message to the brain to heal the physical elbow. Then the brain will send messages to calm down the inflammation, to relieve the pain, and speed up the healing. Clearly, if you have a broken bone that needs to be reset physically, manually, you know, you're going to have to still do that. But it's going to speed up the healing. But interestingly, even if you have a dislocation, for example, what you're doing is you're resetting the balance. You're resetting the homeostasis of the system, and what that then sends a message to do is it resets the muscle tone that has allowed that dislocation, or that, you know, that has where that dislocation is out. If you reset the muscle tone, and then it actually can sometimes just pop back in. Or it makes it easier to manually pop it back in, for example, right? But at the very least, it speeds up the healing process. Remember that it's always communication back and forth between the projection and the brain. This is what's happening.